American Craftsman Podcast is proud to partner with Montana Brand Tools. The West was built by people with strength and great pride in their workmanship. It was a necessity that early settlers of Montana have a strong will, a resilient character, and great determination to tame the rugged landscape while adapting to its dramatic climate. That spirit, made in the USA pride and craftsmanship, is alive today, both in how Montana Brand tools are manufactured and how they perform. Montana Brand power tool accessories are manufactured utilizing proprietary, state-of-the-art CNC machining equipment and the highest quality materials available. Montana Brand tools are guaranteed for life to be free of defects in material and workmanship because we build these tools with pride and determination. Montana Brand tools are manufactured by Rocky Mountain Twist, located in Ronan, Montana. Montana Brand's heritage comes from a long line of innovative power tool accessories. Use coupon code American Craftsman for 10% off your order at montanabrandtools.com.
Okay, after a little camera trouble,
Yeah,
a little audio trouble, we're here.
with nothing but trouble.
Episode 46 of the American Craftsman Podcast.
Yeah, welcome everybody.
Yeah, welcome. We got a sheet again this week.
3 pages
We
even.
didn't have one last week. Yeah. So, welcome to the show. If you're listening, I'm sure you've listened before. So,
Yeah,
this introduction thing here,
Yeah.
probably just nix that off the sheet.
yeah. What does that really encompass, the introduction?
Well, we had someone who was a little slow on the team before. Kind of had to spell everything out. Had a hard time saying American Craftsman Podcast.
Yeah. American Podcast and Craftsman.
Yeah,
What did you used to call it?
The American Podcast.
It'd be like one of those reels at the end of a TV show or a movie where they show somebody that can't say their line.
Yeah, the buttery flaky crust guy.
Yeah. That's the best. That's one of the best blooper reels ever. When the lady takes over and she can't do it, that's hysterical.
Typical.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into the beer of the week, right?
Yeah, baby.
Let me bust out the camera.
We got real B-roll coming soon.
Yeah. All right, hit it. It's your beer, so.
That's right. Well, here we go. We got Grand Cacao from, how do you say that? Is it Trogs?
Trogs.
Yeah, Trogs, and they're in Pennsylvania, I believe.
Yep.
This one really piqued my interest. Went to the new ShopRite today.
Yeah, baby. I'm a ShopRite man. You guys know that.
And that store, just the liquor store, was as big as a regular grocery store. And they got a nice little blurb on here. Welcome to Grand Cacao. This deliciously decadent stout is built on a foundation of rich chocolate malt, caramel malt, and roasted barley. Cold steeping on Peruvian cacao nibs and natural vanilla doubles down on the smooth symphony of chocolate, and a splash of milk sugar delivers a velvety, sweet, and creamy finish. I mean, how could you resist that? Right?
So Keith from 2-Bit gave us this awesome bottle opener, but
We left it at the shop.
we don't have it. So I got this Outer Banks gift shop, $3.99,
with the sticker still on there.
made in China.
Oh no. Can he operate the camera? I'm pretty sure he can. There you go. Thank you.
We gotta get the pour in there.
Oh yeah. Get some audio on that pour.
If you like this glass, you too can have one. Either by purchasing it on our website or about, what?
2 weeks?
2 weeks from now, August 7th at 2:30 p.m., we'll be having a meetup at the Belford Brewing Company in Belford, New Jersey. And we have 36 of these glasses. So if you're there and you're hanging out, you're going to be drinking beer out of one of these, and you can, take the glass home when you leave.
Yeah, we're looking forward to putting some faces with names. And, of course, just getting to hang out with some of the people we've recently met through the podcast.
Yeah.
And just having a good old time, hanging out, relaxing, drinking some beer.
We got about more foam than beer here. Come on now.
It's going to take you a while to get through that one.
Come on.
My nose doesn't really work that well, which defies its size, but.
What's the ABV on this? 6.5. That's not bad for, these kind of chocolate stouts and stuff a lot of times are up there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm gonna have to dive through this.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers to you, and cheers to all you out there. That's tasty.
Something a little different for the summertime.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm digging that.
Grand Cacao.
I always like to take a nice deep swallow the first time. You get that.
See, now you drink this. You like Guinness.
Yeah.
And you always have people who are like, people who aren't big beer drinkers are like, Guinness is so heavy.
No, it's the opposite.
I mean, that and this isn't even a good example of like a heavy beer. But you can tell the difference just between something like this and a Guinness. I mean, Guinness is like water.
It is. I mean, when we were in Vegas hanging out at that Irish pub, I can't remember where it was. It was probably on the bar somewhere where they instructed you how to drink Guinness. Like you're supposed to drink it down
3
to
sips or something.
Yeah. The first one was down to a certain point on the logo on the glass.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true. It's almost like drinking a glass of water.
Yeah, it's thin and it's just dark really in color.
Yeah, yeah.
The taste is a little bit like has a little bit of that chocolate malt kind of taste, but not really.
No, I like a Guinness. That was part of what led me to try one of these. Plus, we've had a lot of like hazy IPAs lately, so I wanted to mix it up a little.
Yeah, I remember you were doing those Irish car bombs in Las Vegas.
No.
That was at the AVN Awards.
Yeah. How we stumbled into the AVN. Now, was that some kind of...
Somebody stumbled, had a career-ending injury there, too.
That's right. The stars aligned. We were going to the Fine Woodworking.
Fine Home Building.
They were having... and which wound up being really the nicest event of the whole week we were there.
Yeah, we weren't cool enough to get invited to any of the,
No.
any of the parties or anything.
No.
This we actually had to pay for.
Right.
But I went to charity.
And it happened to be at the Hard Rock, which I heard got torn down and rebuilt. And at the very same time, they were having some...
the Adult Video... I don't know what the N stands for. Network or something. Awards. So you can imagine.
Woodworkers and porn stars... and all the hangers-on.
Yeah, a bunch of creepers.
Yeah, there were some creepy folks hanging on there.
Mm-hmm.
And, yes, that was a career-ending injury that night.
Yeah.
For the Voldemort of the group.
That's what happens when you don't listen to doctor's orders.
No. Yeah.
Anywho, we got a tool of the week.
Yeah.
I think you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised with this one. Not something that we've ever talked about before in the podcast.
Everybody knows that we are pencil aficionados.
Oh, yeah.
Freaks, whatever you want to call it. So we're constantly on the search. And so if you've been following us on Instagram, you know that Keith from Blackthorn has been doing some work with us. He's been CNCing these things for us.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a really great surprise. He left these for us in the shop. And we had both kind of eyed these pencils. It's a Graph Gear 1000 by Pentel. It's made in Japan.
Forgetting my B-roll already.
Yeah. And what separates, and now we were both Pentel users, but what separates this one from the others is that the little clip that holds it on to your apron, when you click it, it brings in, it retracts the lead and the little what would you call that little ferrule? That
Yeah, I don't know if they call that the barrel.
Yeah,
no, I guess the barrel is that.
the part that sort of holds the lead at the base, which is always breaking when you're shoving it into a leather apron like we have.
Yeah, retract that again. I'm gonna need a macro lens.
So this was a real game changer, and I took to it immediately.
Yeah, me too. And I was kind of a hater on this pencil. And I never had one, but just looking at it online and like it just looked a little over the top and sort of more flash than it looked like it was form over function.
But and then when you get like the little muscle memory of clicking it and retracting it, and because you retract it and sort of pull out the spring clip at the same time.
See, me, I never retract it.
Yeah, I always retract it because I was constantly jamming stuff into the end of my pencil and breaking it. So I want to thank Keith.
Yeah, thanks, Keith. We got to have Keith on in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
Let's see if he can free himself up on a Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm sure he could.
Yeah.
And there you go. We got another pencil. So now I've got like 3 expensive pencils just sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
Because it's been replaced with this Pentel.
I like the little rubber things on the barrel.
Yeah.
Because I like the Graph Gear 500, and I like the weight of it, and this weight's very similar. But the Graph Gear is just knurled, and it can get a little slippery sometimes,
This pencil's a real winner.
Yeah.
I know we obsess about this thing, but...
They're going to have to change the yellow color, though.
Yeah, to green.
Yeah.
There's nothing that gets used more than the pencil.
Yeah, the humble pencil.
So we're finicky about our tapes, our pencils, and, the amount of layout tools.
Yeah.
We're finicky.
Speaking of tapes... I'm the newest winner of the Stare giveaway on Instagram.
Yeah. He wins everything.
I know. You got to be in it to win it.
That's right.
You got to be in it to win it.
Yeah.
I forget what my comment was.
They wanted to know.
Oh, yeah. What's a project that you used your Stare tape measure on? I said, I use my Stare Exact 16-foot tape measure on every project because accuracy matters.
Of course he won with that.
I knew, too, when I sent it in. I'm like, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
Simple, to the point.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Yes, it is. And you do use it on everything.
Yeah. I got one a couple feet away.
Yeah, you got one tape. You're a one-tape man, although you have multiples of that same one tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's about a dozen of them floating around.
Me on the other hand.
One of each.
That's it. I'm constantly on the hunt.
Yeah. I've settled with the Stare.
Yeah. I think next year when we take our vacation, I'm going to send my apron back to Calavera. I'm going to have them put like a little bit of like a half circle cutout where I reach in for my tape measure, fish it out a little bit easier.
You need a hole at the bottom, and you put your finger in and push the tape up.
Yeah.
That's like what my Occidental has.
I'll ask him to do that too. But other than that, I was shocked at what my apron looks like now compared to when I got it. It's only been a year, but we put those things through hard use.
Yeah.
And last week, it was Wednesday, it was the day after the podcast when we were working in Newark.
Oh, Lord.
And we're in our aprons, and it was 100.
Yours was a whole other color. It went from white to brown.
It was like 110 degrees there.
600% humidity. No air moving in a giant cinder block building.
Everything was just soaking wet. We were just dripping wet. Water running off your elbows kind of wet.
Yeah, that was rough. Then we went to go see Tommy G, and it was like...
Yeah.
Like, excuse our appearance. We've just been working in a building all day.
Our fingers were literally starting to get wrinkled, like when you're in the pool too long.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, that was a good one. I can't believe that was only a week ago.
I know. Not even 6 days ago.
Yeah.
We got a new little segment this week. The listener tip of the week.
Yeah.
This is from our buddy Corey at CT Woodwork. Corey, tentatively, I know, is going to come to the meetup. I won't say for sure because I don't want to, box him in. But he said he's coming. So if
I'd
you
love to meet him.
If you don't give a shit about us and you want to meet Corey, you can meet him at at our meetup.
There you go. There's a sales pitch.
So Corey wrote in about this last week. He said, if you have a cut, grab some Yarrow plant and put it on the cut with some tape. It naturally stops bleeding, is a natural pain reliever, and natural antiseptic. I now have 2 Yarrow plants, or Yarrow, Yarrow plants in front of my shop. So someone that he was doing work for gave him this tip.
Yeah, we got to do that. We got to plant those.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I meant to look it up this morning when I was writing this out as to what
see what it looks like.
It even looks like Yarrow plant.
But we got plenty of spot. We could have those flower boxes on the house.
It looks vaguely familiar.
Doesn't look at all like I imagined. I was imagining almost something look more like a succulent.
Flowering plant in the family of Asteraceae.
And what do you use, the flowering part or the stem or?
I don't know. Yarrow plant uses. Yarrow is an herb, or a herb, depending on where you're from.
Mm-hmm.
The above ground parts are used to make medicine. Yarrow is used for fever, common cold, hay fever, absence of menstruation, dysentery, diarrhea, loss of appetite, gastrointestinal tract discomfort, and to induce sweating.
We usually don't need help with the last one.
Some people chew the fresh leaves to relieve toothache. Wow. Yarrow's most ancient use is in healing the skin. Yarrow has antimicrobial and pain-relieving traits and is wonderful for soothing skin that is prone to irritations. It is also deeply nourishing and restorative. It aids in healing broken capillaries and is ideal for sensitive skin as well as problematic skin.
Wow, I wonder where we can get some.
How do you use Yarrow for wounds? Wound aid for animals. What is this? BuckMountainBotanicals.net. Don't trust any of these sources that I'm reading off of, by the way. This is all entertainment only.
That's right. Your mileage may vary.
Yeah. Some blah, blah, blah. Harvested in full bloom, dried and powdered, it is liberally applied to open bleeding, oozing, and otherwise raw wounds. Is Yarrow good for hair? Yarrow is a beneficial ingredient for all hair types, and regular use of Yarrow in hair care has been shown to promote healthy hair growth, soothe scalp inflammation, remove buildup, and reduce hair loss.
Yeah, I'm gonna rub some on my top of my head.
Looks like it'll basically do anything. Yarrow emotional benefits.
Oh, God.
The flavonoids and alkaloids in Yarrow tea may alleviate symptoms of depression and anxiety. With sources, studies demonstrate the plant-based alkaloids, like those in Yarrow tea, reduce the secretion of corticosterone, a hormone that's high during chronic stress.
So Yarrow does just about everything, as you said.
Is Yarrow a sedative? Yarrow may act as a sedative as well. Antacids and other medications that decrease stomach acids, such as H2 blockers and proton pump inhibitors. Yarrow may increase stomach acid and therefore decrease the effectiveness of antacids.
I wonder if Yarrow is in any of these medications or some sort of synthetic version of Yarrow. You know how, like, the pharmaceutical companies, they're
taking those alkaloids and...
Right, they'll harness something that's natural and make a synthetic version of it really cheaply.
Yep.
That was a great tip, and something I definitely want to check into further. I want to see if there's like a nursery or something like that nearby. Yeah. It doesn't look anything at all like I imagine.
Buy Yarrow.
I mean, I hope you don't have to plant it from a seed.
Is this on like a DEA ban list?
Yeah. Just by looking that up.
Does Yarrow plant make you hallucinate? Perennial. Oh, it's a perennial. That's cool.
Yeah.
You can order it for $4.89 at TennesseeNursery.net.
Probably comes in like a little baggie, like the when you go to the Arbor Day Foundation.
Color white, bloom, spring, summer, under 3 feet, drought tolerant, flowering, ponds and watering gardens.
Oh, we got one of those.
Ships year round. We ship bare root plants, which are dormant in a wintertime state and have no pretty foliage, blooms, or greenery, but they will bloom out in the following spring after they are planted and be beautiful. This is why we offer a 1-year warranty to show our customers their plants will thrive come spring.
All right.
We could do a whole podcast just on Yarrow.
I know.
We better get into these questions because we've been babbling on for 20 minutes about Yarrow.
And pens.
You know what I didn't do was mix these questions up, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because look at this first question here.
Yeah.
What writing utensils do you use in the shop? I have a regular lead pencil pen, marker, carpenter's pencil, and a white lead pencil. Also, thanks for last week's response to the podcast. Oh, you're very welcome. It has really helped me a lot. And that's from Jack Thornton, 98 on Instagram.
Our pleasure, Jack.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have a podcast without everybody's questions, so it's our pleasure to answer them. So, yeah, I mean, we kind of just talked about this a little bit, but, I mean, we're both using that Graph Gear 1000. I also use the Graph Gear 500. I have Bic Permanent Marker, not a Sharpie. They were, like, on sale at ShopRite, 2 for 99 cents, like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
2 years ago, and I bought like a dickload of them.
There's a bunch of them in the shop. Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, they're like a really fine point, and they stink to high heaven. It's like some sort of solvent based kind of thing or something. And then I have a white lead pencil. That's really it. We keep pens around for like writing checks, but
I have a red lead pencil. Mm-hmm. It's handy on half of the things and not so much on the other half, but that's it. I have 2 pencils: my regular pencil, my red pencil, and lately I've had that Pika fine tip marker that was gifted to us
from Rich.
Yeah, and that's really about it. Basically, do everything with pencil. I mean, squint on some of the darker woods, but
like the Sapele, sometimes you got to turn it a little bit to get the angle right.
We might use like a lumber crayon when we're doing like super rough marking and layout, but we don't hold that in our aprons or anything.
Let's see. We got one here from one of our patrons, Wojciech. This is coming in from YouTube. What has been the most violent disagreement? I think he means violent and more the maybe verbal. Violent disagreement you have ever had at a job site with a client or another crew? I don't have anything jumping out to me immediately.
Yeah. The only time I ever got into any kind of heated argument was at Long Branch. Mm-hmm. It was the day that I told Tom if he leaned something against my bench, I was going to snap him in half.
Yeah, I was going to say like
that might have precipitated my firing.
Yeah, many months later. I was going to say, I think
you probably had some harsh words.
Yeah,
for Tom.
Those are probably the harshest ones, because most people are reasonable.
Yeah, Tom had this way of really getting, to your last nerve.
Yeah,
and bring out the very worst in you, because these are things, we laugh about them, but it's not something you're proud of when you get to that point. You always want to be able to take the high road.
Yeah, yep.
But he certainly had that ability to sort of just needle away at you. Yeah. It's funny because I was on the gear page, which is like this guitarist, musician kind of thing, and somebody was talking about band disagreements, which are basically, like a bunch of teenage boys always
in a spat.
In a spat. There's no emotional maturity involved at all. And this one guy, he uploaded like a little video, and his drummer just flips out because he lost his glasses and attacks the guitar player, and the drum set, the guitar player picks up a cymbal stand.
Oh my God.
So anyway, it happens all over. Anytime you get a bunch of people in the same room, people are going to lose their temper.
Sometimes people go aggro.
But that's a funny question.
Yeah.
I would like to hear from Wojciech.
Yeah.
Usually if you have a question like that,
He's leading a little bit.
yeah, you have a story.
Look at this next one. How apropos.
All right. Oh, yeah. Do you brand your pieces with a branding iron or a signature? I brand my pieces and a serial number. That's from Corey, CT Woodwork.
Well, we actually just finally ordered a branding iron
Yeah.
on Saturday or Sunday. So we should have it in about a week. The watch flower box, we're going to be building a couple more, and one is going to go to a pretty high profile client, somebody who you would know, like if I said their name, like a top of the A-list celebrity.
He's an A-list celebrity.
Yeah, and like at the a A+ list. Like he's we're not talking about well, I don't know.
He's current, he's somebody who's current.
So I said, this box ain't going to this guy.
Yeah,
without some kind of Greene
branding
Street.
on it. Yeah.
Because that's just a total missed opportunity.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, we ordered it from what is let me see here, because I'll give him a little plug. Custom branding iron, made in California. Is this the one? Branding Irons Unlimited.
Ah, cool. They got a nice website.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're in Canoga Park, California. Not cheap.
No.
Not cheap in the least bit. Paid about $500.
Yeah.
For a good heavy duty,
strong heating element.
electric, plug-in sort of deal. So we'll see. Excited to get it. But we do, I like to write Greene Street Joinery and the year on stuff, since we don't have a branding iron.
Yeah.
Like put it in an inconspicuous place on the bottom and the back that you won't see. But if somebody, pulls the thing out 25 years from now or 50 years from now, they'll see.
It's always fun. Like when we find stuff like that, we really enjoy it.
Yeah, yep.
So we like to kind of keep that tradition going.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild how appropriate the questions are from week to week.
Always.
Today was the pencil,
Mm-hmm.
the branding iron.
Yep.
It's amazing.
And then even like the one, not this next one, but the one after that.
All right. You want to read the next one?
Yeah, we got another one from Corey because I forgot to mix these up. How long do you guys keep finished samples around after a project is done with? Corey, CT Woodwork on Instagram.
Well, there's probably about a dozen up in that little cabinet that you built.
Yep.
That little Sapili sample cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
That we've not really referenced since we put them up there. But they're handy to have.
We, I mean, a lot of times we don't even make a finished sample.
No, we say we're going to, but
Yeah, like it's in the scope of work, but the people just kind of just trust our judgment. So if they want it, we'll make it.
yeah.
And usually it just goes to them and we never get it back because we don't even want
Right,
it. You know, white oak with tongue oil, we'll make it and send it. A lot of times I literally put it in an envelope, a bubble mailer, and just mail it to the client.
Yeah, it's cheaper, faster, easier to just mail it.
Yeah, for
out.
$7 I can mail it. I can't drive down the street and back for $7.
Mm-hmm. So we don't really stock them.
No,
And
it's
we
like the ones we keep in there. Somebody comes to the shop and
Right.
wants to see some things. We have a couple different things. We have mostly it's like cherry, white oak, sapele, and walnut, and That's probably it.
Yeah, with a couple of
different
Rubios
finishes.
on there.
Rubio, tung oil, dark tung oil. And that's really it.
Yeah, we don't get crazy with the finishes.
No.
So, I mean, we've learned too. We try and stick to what we do best.
Yep.
Don't get too crazy.
We actually just got word today. We're gonna be doing a job in the Rubio pre-color intense black.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be black, white oak, just completely black.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't think we can mess that one up.
Yeah, I don't think so.
All right. So, is this the next question you were talking about here?
What specific?
Yeah.
Yep.
What specific design elements do you use for different styles of furniture? For example, what elements do you usually use in the modern style of furniture? From Wojciech, again, one of our patrons, and this was via YouTube.
Well, you're the primary design guy, so I'll let you handle this one.
Well, we have a couple of things that we do like in the modern stuff. We like the slightly floating top, angular sort of, with a nod to the east, to the mid-century. All that stuff is pretty well documented, and you can kind of tell when it hits the mark. Simple, clean.
Yeah, mostly sort of unadorned. I thought it was funny because I drew up that console.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it is modern.
It's not traditionally modern. Like it doesn't just only fit in the mid-century mold, or like the Scandinavian, because that's what a lot of people kind of reference.
Yep.
Because it's a mixture of all the things that we bring to the table personally. You had those octagonal tapered legs, which was
is like a Welsh chair, or like a kind of stick furniture kind of thing, and then the floating top, with the undercut, and
but in general, its lines speak of a clean, sort of almost universal design.
Yeah, it's sort of just contemporary.
There's a better way to put it.
It's nothing, it's not mid-century modern. It's not modern. Blah, blah, blah.
One of the things that I like about mid-century, I got to do a little bit of it when I did these bunk beds and furniture out of bamboo, is the way they place like window openings and things like that, where they stagger the rectangles and stuff. I like that element of mid-century and modern work.
Yep.
It's sort of like the cloud lift is to, the Greene arts and crafts style. So, all this stuff is pretty well documented.
Yeah.
And it's like anything else. All musicians, you start out sort of, let's say you're a guitar player and you love Eric Clapton. You're going to try and learn Eric Clapton songs. You're going to be copying his style, even though you don't really know it. And then eventually you develop your own vocabulary.
Right.
Yeah, and you may have roots somewhere, but as you develop personally, you add your own touches to it. And that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, so what would you say are some more specific design elements, like so arts and crafts, tapered, tapering up to the top of a piece is a specific design element that's going to be for that style.
The rail and style, of course, with the flat panel. And, for the most part, good proportions are good proportions.
Yeah.
And modern stuff can be kind of low to the ground or raised off the ground. Like we've done both.
Yeah. Sort of like a tall and skinny or a low slung.
Like when we did Samir's, case work, that was kind of extraordinarily low compared to most cabinets.
Even that console is. Let me see. Let me see if I can put it on the screen. Media source. Okay. Local file.
We're getting pretty deft with the technology.
Yeah. OBS would like to access. Okay. Sure. You can access my computer. Where's my desktop? Applications, downloads. No desktop? There it is. We'll go with this one, Black Legs. That's the one we're doing.
Because that's the one the client really likes.
Whoa, where'd it go? Well, it's not working.
That's a shame because that's a pretty sweet design.
Yeah, you'll have to stay tuned. Hopefully we build it.
Yeah. So, I mean, semi-modern kind of stuff, contemporary, arts and crafts, those are the things we get called to do most of the time.
Yeah.
That kind of that white painted shaker thing. I'm glad we haven't really...
Shaker.
Yeah. I always call that cottage.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because to me...
The shaker door has been attributed to this whole, like, I don't know. It's not, none of that stuff is shaker style.
No.
I mean, the shakers, most of their stuff was slab, I feel like.
Yeah. They were real minimalists. I mean, that was the whole thing. It was really function first.
They were too busy praying.
And working.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about utilitarian. I mean, that was the key. They needed to have something that was, you make it good, make it once, make it last.
Yeah.
So they could get out in the field and bring in the crops and sew the clothes. People were busy.
Yeah.
So that's a good question. And I hope we answered it sufficiently.
Yeah. Got another one here from Corey. If you guys were asked to start a TV show, what would it be about?
Oh, man.
CT Woodwork. I'm going to say probably like out-of-place objects, ancient alien phenomenon. We might do some reading of Yelp reviews.
Yeah. I would love to bring back the gripe of the week on the TV show and just talk about how people stopped using their turn signals.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been driving around a lot lately compared to, most times. And
it's horrific out there.
It's insane. Nobody signals. People just pull out into 50-mile-an-hour traffic.
Yeah.
Expect you to stop.
This is my favorite thing. It happened to me on the way here, pulling into the shoulder and then driving down the shoulder as like it's a merge lane.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just, and nobody stops anymore. Like stop signs, especially coming out of a parking lot. It's
the
just
rolling stop.
It's the Wild West out there.
Yeah.
So, I'd like to have like an Andy Rooney moment at the end of the show, where
This is over my head.
Oh yeah. So everybody knows the show 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
Andy Rooney's passed away, but he used to have this. He was a TV personality and a writer, and he had this little 2-minute segment at the end of 60 Minutes, and he would often talk about the idiosyncrasies of human nature or society or something.
Like a little monologue at the end?
Yes. And he would often poke fun at himself as well. And he was quite an avid woodworker.
Huh.
So I think it's apropos that we pay homage to Andy Rooney with the 2 minutes at the end of the show.
Yeah.
And have the airing of grievances.
Yeah. I'd say all jokes aside, I think it would be cool, like a show where Sort of like, remember when Alton Brown did that show where he traveled around and he...
Oh, yeah.
Something like that, but like going to visit different shops.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't even have to necessarily be furniture. Just other people who are craftspeople, you know, whatever, your cheesemaker or a woodworker or a candle maker, glass blower, whatever.
And we could eat different places.
Yeah, because that's part of it too, you know.
Be like a little travelogue.
Yeah, where you go to like a region. And today we're doing, the Smoky Mountain. And you go to a couple different places, all sort of people who are makers of something.
I like that.
So if any of you have connections at not History Channel, because they're up to no good with all these TV shows.
Yeah.
Maybe like a Nat Geo or a Discovery.
Yeah.
Put us in touch.
I'm down. Oh, this is a good question here from Kevin, one of our patrons. He's Stelzer Furniture on Instagram, and he's probably run into this himself. What's your go-to doorstop for inset doors?
We like one of two things. The fast cap, eccentric Yarrow stops, I think they call them.
That's it.
That, it sort of depends. Like, you have to have a flush bottom. Bottom has to be flush with the face frame or relatively close. They do sell tall ones, too. That or just a wooden shop-made sort of wooden stop with a little bumper on it.
That's it. I can't add a thing to it. Those are our two that we use every single time, one or the other.
Yeah. And we barely even use the eccentric part of that stop because it's going to be flush to the back of the face frame.
That's why they're so easy.
Yeah.
You know, the thing I like about those too is it's a bumper and a stop all in one, so the door has a nice...
You don't have to account for any type of thickness.
Satisfying kind of, low thud when it hits.
Yep. I'm realizing I have a question from a patron, from one of our newest patrons that I didn't put on here. We're gonna have to hit that in the after show.
All right, you want to look for it and read it?
We'll hit it in the Patreon one.
Okay. So what's next?
We got one here from Brian, Gray Point Woodworks on Instagram. Have you ever finished a job and had a client not like or hate the project?
That's like a fear. I always, the night before we have to do the installation, I'm always filled with anxiety. Not so much anymore. There's something weird about having you as the partner now where it defrays 50% of the responsibility.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And when you work by yourself, it's all you. And so even though I'm 100% responsible, you're 100% responsible. When you're by yourself,
you're 200%.
Yeah, it's like 200%.
Yeah.
And I could never sleep the night before thinking, what if they don't like it? What if it doesn't fit? What if something goes wrong? What if this?
Yeah, it's like when you have someone else, you go to the job, you can never be outnumbered by the client. Like, you're like, well, what about this? It's like, well, you got two people. It's two against one to explain and sort of quell their fears.
And also, we're very communicative throughout the process. So our proposal is so thorough to begin with.
Yeah.
And then all through the process, we're sending photographs and talking and this and that.
Yeah, if I have any shade of anxiety about a specific element where I'm like, I wonder if, then I'm sending pictures.
Yeah.
Even if it's subversively where
we want to
get
see what they say.
Hey, check it out. I'm not saying anything about that one thing that's bothering me, but I want to see what they say.
Right.
If they say anything or whatever. I can't think of a job.
The only one that was close to that was Michelle's with
the color, yeah.
Yeah, she said, we installed, and she says, I thought it would be darker.
Yeah. And
we kind of just, said, no, this is it. And
if you don't want it, we'll take it back.
Well, that was also, that's kind of what happened at the end, too. We assured her that as it aged, it would deepen.
Yeah.
And we also, because, it was such a sweetheart deal, we thought, well, we'll take it. You don't have to pay for it. We'll just take it.
Yeah.
Back.
We're going to auction it off for charity.
So that's what we were going to do. But I'm pretty sure she's happy with it.
Yeah. I mean, maple, it's going to darken for sure. Some maple looks like cherry.
I know. Like, you ever see the stuff on Antiques Roadshow? Mm-hmm. And one of those.
This is maple? I'm like, maple?
The first time he was talking about that, the twin brother guys.
I haven't watched it in a while. I do like Antiques Roadshow.
I can't remember their names. But he was like, yeah, this maple, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it was dark brown with like a little red in it. Yeah. Yeah, that's the great fear, isn't it? That the client hates.
Yeah. I'm always like, even like the commercial install, I'm like, I'm waiting for a text to say like, oh, because the ceiling was all whacked out. Like, the letters look like they're a little bit off.
Yeah.
I'm just, but that's part of like touching on that question we had last week about, like, how has our work affected our like way of living kind of thing from, was it Matt? Was that from Matt? I forget. Or no, from Parker. I think it's just ingrained in us anyway. It has nothing to do with the work. It's just we have
we're so paranoid.
Yeah, or like not low self-worth, but like that imposter syndrome where it's never good enough. Like what you did isn't, you're expecting them to pick out the one flaw.
Yeah. I would love to hear some stories though.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been around, again, working in Long Branch. We've been around.
I have one actually, in the house that we met, with the designer.
Yeah,
I won't say her name. We had these closets on the second floor. I was still working as a finish carpenter at this point, and the pitch of the roof was in the closet, and it was only. I don't know. It was to nothing at the top of the, at the ceiling of the closet. The angle was intersecting the wall with no flat. So I had to put hanging rods, which typically you'll put a piece of 1x6 on the wall and then put a shelf on top of it and then put the bar between. So this, I had to do like this and there was no detailed drawings, anything from this designer.
No, that was her
like
way.
A triangle attached to the ceiling that came down, and then I dadoed in a shelf that went across. Like, imagine kind of like the tail of a plane. Like, it almost like looked like that. And she comes in, she's like, I hate it. I'm like, well, we couldn't get any guidance from you, so this is what we came up with. That's really the only one I could think of.
Points for subtlety, huh?
Yeah. Like the cleat had on the wall, because the wall was angled. I had to put a level cut on it. It was crazy. Fucking crazy. And
knowing you agonized over this and did like the best job that anyone could ever do.
I'm on site laminating plywood together, running stop dados in it, and I had to attach it to rafters with pocket screws, and
oh man,
and then so I ended up having to like cut it, and while it was in place, and it was a whole
God,
thing.
That's funny. Yep,
with that Fugazi designer.
I know. I had my own run-in with her when I was working out the working drawings, and this was again one of the first jobs I was doing when I was in the office trying to, translate these drawings that she had given, and the measurements added up. It'd be like 48. She'd show like some that's 48 inches and some that's 36 inches, and then at the top it'll be like 108 inches. It's like, these don't add up.
I'm not here measuring. I'm just writing stuff down.
Yeah.
That's probably where Tom learned how to measure.
Yeah.
2 peas in a pod.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, we got a jokester on this next one.
All right. Do you use a center punch on your mark before drilling a hole? That's Keith, our good buddy Keith, pointing out the obvious from Blackthorn Concepts on Instagram.
I do when it's necessary. It's funny. I got a couple people busting my balls. I posted a video yesterday using the Montana Brad Point bit, drilling a hole, and the hole comes out. It comes out so clean.
Yeah. But
I missed my mark, and it's a weep hole on the bottom of the sign that we're making for Jacqueline, the designer we work with. So you're never gonna see it, and it doesn't matter. But I got a couple people busting my chops. I'm filming with one hand, drilling with another hand, looking through the viewfinder. That's the other thing.
What people don't understand is you're holding your phone up, looking through your phone and with your drill, trying to spot that mark. So
it's hard. You get all discombobulated.
Yeah, that's why.
Your head isn't facing really necessarily the direction you're going in. I like this one from another patron, Jaffa Hernandez on Instagram. How many cardboard shims is too many cardboard shims on a door hinge repair job?
That's your department there.
Well, I'd say, all jokes aside, if you start to be able to see a gap between the hinge and the hinge mortise, then you've probably gone too far, and then you could get into bending the knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you understand what I'm saying, like, if you can stick something between the hinge and the mortise, then you've gone too far.
Yeah.
You can get away with bringing the hinge out and still have some hinge in the mortise. But I would even go from cardboard to aluminum shims. We used to take, aluminum stock for making flashings and cut it down into pieces that, were the same size as the hinge mortise.
Yeah.
And they don't compress. The problem with a cardboard shim is, you tighten down the screws, and unless it's fully compressed, it's like spongy.
Yeah.
So it's not going to stay where you want it. So that's one tip I have, but yeah, you don't want to be able to see a gap there.
That's good. That's a good tip. This is from Manny, this next question. Manny's a deep thinker. Did you ever notice that about him? What's an opportunity you missed at some point in life that you wish you could have again?
Got a lot of snarky thoughts going through my head about whom and what I should have probably laid out on the ground at some point. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big regret guy.
Yeah. Now, since I'm about 30 years on, not quite, but my perspective has changed. I don't really like to live with regrets or anything like that, because I'm a firm believer that you really never know what would happen if you would have taken a different road.
Yeah.
Like, we want to assume since we took A, if we would have taken B, things would have worked out better, or
right. It's like the butterfly. It's like the butterfly effect.
You don't know.
Yeah.
It could have gotten worse.
Yeah, it could have been a little upswing, and then you could be down completely.
So the only thing I would say is, as I've gotten older and sort of just settled down a little bit, I've always been a pretty volatile person, especially in my youth.
I'm sure you guys are all shocked. He am volatile?
Yeah. That when I was younger, if I would have liked to, if I could go back and do some things again, I would have liked to have had the wherewithal to sort of be more patient and see some things through, not be so impulsive and hot-headed and make rash decisions, because at the time, they usually don't work out for you in a good way.
Right.
I'm not saying things would have worked out any better, but I would have liked to at least had that ability to do that.
Right, like not going back to change the fate of what happened in your life, but those specific moments.
Right, if I could have just, been a little bit more patient with things, and then let things unfold as they would have, whether it's the same or different. But that's what I would say.
Yeah. I guess I probably agree. Same sort of thing where I'm so content with my life now and the way things are going now that I can't see going back to change something. Like man, if I had just whatever,
Yeah.
now I'd be a billionaire. I'm happy now, so I don't have dreams of changing anything in my past to change my present. But yeah, I mean, definitely situations where I was probably, not a good person that I go back and change.
We could all
that
just
kind of stuff.
do that a little bit better.
Yeah.
Everybody's got room for improvement there.
I mean, for me, missed opportunities, I probably more on jobs where I'm like, man, I wish I had done this or I wish I had done that. But again, nothing so serious that I can remember.
Yeah.
You forget about it after the next job.
That's right. And, there's, like I always said, when I was a kid, I used to think, oh, I want to be a veterinarian, and that was my whole focus. But then as my home life got disrupted, I didn't have the chance to go to school and those things like that. And there was a time where I thought, man, my life got all screwed up and everything. But no matter what, it still led me to where I am now.
Yeah.
And life is good.
Yep.
So just like you, I agree. These things may have, if there's whatever school of philosophy you believe in, fatalism or hard determinism or all these other things, we both got here into these chairs today for whatever reason, and everything that led to it is in place.
I mean, could have grown up with silver spoons and be in the gutter dead.
That's
as a
right.
Drug addict. I mean, it's
I always like to say, I could have had everything going for me. You come home and the wife's in bed with the pool boy.
yeah. Then he kills you.
Yes. So things turned out pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, we've touched on it before. Like, contentment is underrated.
It is.
I mean, there's nothing better than being content because happiness is fleeting.
Yeah.
So if you're content with life, then, I mean, maybe I'm the crazy one, but
I don't think so.
That's the way I see it.
And things are really starting to break for us.
Yeah. Knock on wood.
Yeah, we've been fighting the good fight and been content and stuck to our ideals and things like that. And it's nice to see that. I think that adds to our contentment as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's not always easy. I mean, in the beginning, we must have sent 15 bids to get one in the past.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we're getting less inquiries. I'll say they're
quality.
Right, and it's almost a guarantee.
Yeah.
That we're gonna get the job. Because people now, they already know what the deal is.
Right.
It's not like, hey, I'm a designer in Rumson and I need a laundry cabinet and it's 96 tall and blah, blah. And we're like, okay, it's going to be like, what? And they're like, my budget was $850.
Yeah.
Those people aren't calling anymore.
No. We've whittled away all the quantity and got 100% quality now.
Yeah.
So which is exactly what we were trying to do.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Absolutely.
You want to read this next one?
Yes. So this is a sort of a long. We have a lot on this one. This is from John. John, I don't know how to say your name on Instagram. JALMANNOJR. John. Jamal
Noor? I wonder if the J is silent.
And his last name is not Alma. No.
We don't know.
It could be like J. Almano Jr.
Oh, Junior.
Yeah. I think his last name is Phillips. So it doesn't fit. Anyway.
We got to figure that one out.
Yeah. John, you know who you are. So John writes in, do you guys have any advice for me? I'm thinking about making a career move into the trades, carpentry. I'm a 31-year-old accountant from the southern New England area. Do you think it's too late for me? I am a hobbyist woodworker, been at it for about 2 to 3 years. Any advice you can share as far as skill building / making myself more marketable to potential employers? That would be great. Keep up the good work. Love the podcast.
Wow.
So we'll give our thoughts, but I reached out to a couple buddies, and who are all business owners, because I wanted to give you, as much perspective as possible, and I figured this would be a good way. These guys are all,
Well, if this doesn't give you hope, John, I don't know what will. I was a hobbyist until I was 41.
Mm-hmm.
I did all sorts of things, as the listeners of the podcast know. I was a musician for most of my life, and I also worked at a pretty high level as a chef. And once I didn't know what to do with myself. I just fell into cooking. When my music career disintegrated, I really was at a loss. So I came back to New York, and I started teaching high school. I moved out to New Jersey, and we started fixing up our house, and I didn't know half of the things I needed to know, but I had one job offer to teach English on a maternity leave, and I just didn't feel like teaching English again. I was a history teacher, although I did teach English in the past.
And English as a second language.
And yes, I did it all. Not all of it good, but and I just said, you know what? I'm gonna make a sign. I'm gonna put it out in front of my house, and I'm gonna try making cabinets and things. And if it doesn't work, the worst that can happen is I'll go back to work in the restaurant. Mm-hmm. I can get a job in 2 minutes in the restaurant.
You mean he's not on drugs? Hired.
Exactly. Speaks English.
Yeah. He's got a car and he's not on drugs.
Right. That's the one thing about working in the kitchen. You might.
You only got half a brain. You're the star of the show.
Right. I mean, I might have to take my first job or two beneath my ability, but it doesn't matter. It's a job, and it'll bring home a paycheck. So I didn't have any fear there, and I built up my skills, and one job just turned into another. Mm-hmm. And it was a long road with plenty of mistakes, but plenty of learning, and here we are today. Mm-hmm. So you got plenty of time. That's my first point.
Yeah.
31 is not old.
I got so lost in your story.
In the backstory there. Well, I just want to touch on his age first.
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely don't think it's too late. I mean, I feel like I got a late start. I got into carpentry at 23 or 24, and I had never really done anything before that. Mm-hmm. Obviously messed around with stupid stuff around the house and stuff like that, but never used a miter saw or anything like that. And that's only, I'm still learning so much that I'm not as far off as I was then, you know what I mean? Like, so between 24 and 31, like, it's not a long time. So I guess I don't know. Maybe we give these guys opinion, and then we can give ours.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, I reached out. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 guys. I said,
these are all quality guys.
Yeah. Too. And you can. I'm gonna give you their Instagram, and feel free to reach out to these guys. I know John is actually in New England, so maybe he can help you out. And Sam, and Freddie. So first we got Luddy, Sir Luddy on Instagram. I asked, as an employer, what are you looking for from when you're hiring someone who has little experience, and what do you want to see after they're hired? Initiative and give a fuck. That's all anyone needs. Possess those 2 things, and the rest will fall into place. My dad used to be a lead mechanic and service manager, and when he'd hire new guys, he'd literally ask them, "Are you worth a shit?" I mean, I tend to agree.
Yeah.
When you don't have experience, granted you do have experience, John, but we're using that term loosely. You don't have any professional experience working, with like a crew and stuff like that, especially if you're going to go into carpentry. basically they don't want you to have any
bad habits for one.
Right. So you just need to be present, willing to learn, and care.
Yeah. Show up on time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be goofy.
Yep.
Have your own transportation. Do what you're told. Keep your ears open and your mouth shut is the old phrase.
Yeah.
And be willing to do what's asked of you. Makes me think a couple of, I had no fear because how like desperation at times trumps fear. There were times I went into a job. I remember one time when I had just moved into a new city and there was like a line of people waiting for this line cook job. And I went in there and I literally told the guy, I said, you could send everybody else home because you're not going to find anybody better than me out there. He said, what? I said, just send everybody else home and hire me right now or you're missing your chance.
Hired.
I got hired.
This kid's got spunk.
He's got spunk. He said, all right, don't make me regret this.
Oh, man.
But, I was a real hustler. And, especially if you come from the Northeast and this was out West,
mm-hmm.
just by nature, you were worth, at least back then, you were worth two Westerners. Your motor went at a different speed.
Yeah. That's funny.
I love Luddy's comments because that's really it. When I got in a position to hire, you got to look for the things that you can't, that people have in them, like promptness and attention to detail and willingness to, get their hands dirty.
Yep.
So I guess I'll read John's comment, Jay Walden 2 on Instagram. John says, drive, motivation, initiative, willing/want to learn. But the big one for me, at least, is common sense. There you go. You are worthless to me if you have no common sense.
So John actually just fired, I don't know if we'll say apprentice, but like the low guy on the laborer that he had. Now this guy, John, gave him very specific tasks to do, and this guy ended up doing something else and costing him a lot of time and money. So John's up there in Massachusetts, I believe, and I don't know, maybe you get him up, John.
Yeah, I would rather have somebody ask me a question than do the wrong thing.
Right. Yeah, this kid put a bunch of 2x4s through a window.
Oh, God.
They were supposed to go out a window opening, but they went through a closed window.
That's a lack of common sense there.
With a, 20-week lead time.
Yeah, that's right. Supply chain ain't what it used to be.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Next one here is from Justin DePalma on Instagram. Willingness to learn and some common sense goes a long way.
There it goes.
Oh, and shows up on time.
These
these aren't insane demands.
No.
So maybe you see, John, that maybe your fears. You're an accountant, so you must have some sort of head on your shoulders. Mm-hmm. Although I don't know that last accountant we know. You could see that it doesn't take a lot to be qualified to get in
and to impress.
Right.
That's it. You'll impress somebody with these qualities.
Yeah, some things that we think are just second nature.
Mm-hmm. All right. Phrase from a book comes to mind. Humble, hungry, and smart. That's JCH Cabinets on Instagram. The fellow's name is John.
May have heard of him. Yeah,
Humble, hungry, smart.
That says a lot. Hungry is big. How can you be good at your job if you're not hungry?
Yeah. Because we're still those things, and there's nobody really, we account to each other and to ourselves, but that's the way you are. You're wired that way.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to be the guy who's been doing it for 40. I've been doing this the same way for 40 years.
Wrong.
Yeah.
40 years.
Have fun.
Yeah. Chances are, if you're doing something for 40 years the same way, you've
been doing it the wrong way.
You're out of step with what's going on now.
Right.
Even if it was right 40 years ago, it might not be right anymore. Longevity is not the be all and end all.
Yeah, you think the Egyptians built the perfect pyramid? No, we've had, man, when they build those?
5,000 years ago, 3,500 years ago.
It was 3,000 BC?
No, so it was like 30. I think it was 2,500 BC.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Don't even get me started on Puma Punku.
Yeah.
This one is from Sal the Carpenter on Instagram. Reliable transportation, common sense.
There it goes
guys see
again.
a theme developing? And they need to be trustworthy.
Ugh.
I'm in way too many expensive houses. I don't want to worry about that. They don't need to know anything, but have to be teachable. One other thing is most I've had that think they know something. It somehow translates to them knowing everything and usually won't understand that I want something different and become a liability real fast. That's like that idea of Dunning-Kruger where, on a graph of perceived knowledge versus real knowledge, when you get a little bit of knowledge, people think that they have all the knowledge, and then you actually find out that you have none.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah.
The theme is strong, isn't it? It's you don't have to have the technical qualifications.
Just be competent to get here.
Yeah.
Listen, ask questions, do what you're told.
It's like the football player that impresses on special teams and how he works his way into the lineup because he's a great special teams player. If you can take the lunch order from the crew and bring it back and give everybody their change and just do that, you're going to impress people. And listen, the low guy on the crew is going to do those things.
Yeah.
But if you do that well, people are going to notice. That's it.
Yeah.
All right. This is from Sam McClure Design Build on Instagram. And he says, the couple employees I've had, I just always wish they wanted to be there. If you don't want to be there and learn, then leave.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, John's got to be brimming with confidence now that he's hearing all this.
Yeah.
That all these things we're reading, these are guys that run crews, that have a business.
Yeah, these are all business guys who own their own businesses.
Right. This isn't just speculation.
Last one here, and I'll check my phone, see if any of these other guys wrote back. This is from Freddie, Craftsman on Instagram.
Another good guy.
Yeah, and another New England guy. Show up on time, learn from your mistakes, listen and don't question, but be willing to give their opinion. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever I was working with someone who I was in the more of like a mentorship role or the, we'll call it lead guy and helper, I always listen to the opinion of the other person.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? A lot of times they were right.
Yeah.
And that shows a lot. If you can come up with a constructive idea in one of these situations, well, the guy who you're working under is going to say, oh, wow, John really knows what the hell he's talking about. He's
What
learning.
do you think, John?
Right.
We're going to bring these up because it could be just humping stuff up a staircase.
What do you think? How should we do this?
And you say, well, let's go around the back, and that way it's
through the window.
Yeah. It's not magic, is it?
No. You'll pick up on all the technical aspects of the job. Let's say you get in with a finish crew. Well, you're going to be marking studs or cleaning up scraps, but then, the job, they're seeing that the job site is clean and they don't have to worry about this. And John, go do the baseboard in the closet.
It's just like the kitchen, isn't it?
Right. Have you been paying attention? Did you see all the things that those guys were doing? You were watching them install and you said, hey, Steve, what's that when you did it that way? That's what it's all about. And when you get home, you need to be learning and taking what you saw all day and doing the homework that it takes to I don't know what the dog's doing up there. Do the homework that it takes to actually learn from what you saw that day.
Because there's plenty available now online, easy
it's insane.
Resources.
Everything I know, I taught myself on YouTube.
Yeah.
Not everything, but most of what I know, I taught myself on YouTube. Same thing. I got into carpentry with no experience. You have more experience than I had.
Yeah.
And 2 years later, not even. I'm the lead finish guy.
Right.
And the only reason is because I listened, I asked questions, I took what I saw and I learned about it when I got home, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take the initiative, then as long as you're, have the physical capability of doing these things, which 99.9% of people do, you shouldn't have any problems.
Yeah, exactly. You get your chores done and you go to the guy that you think is most receptive. Hey, Joe, can I give you a hand here?
Mm-hmm.
If Joe says no, go away, then you go to Jim, because not everybody's going to be likable on a crew. And again, I'll always relate it to my kitchen days because I started working in kitchens as a kid as a dishwasher. I had no formal training. And as I got higher and higher in the ranks, everybody who were my peers, they all went to CIA and Johnson & Wales, or, some even went to Cordon Bleu and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I felt a little bit insecure because I had no training really except on the job. But I was always succeeding because nobody was going to outwork me.
Yeah.
And that was just it. Mm-hmm. And because that's one of the keys that these people are talking about here.
Yeah, you got the fast track education that those guys got in 2 years. You were picking it up, working shoulder to shoulder with them. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to do this.
That's right. I wasn't above learning my secondhand school book education.
It's the same thing working on a crew.
Yeah.
You might work with a guy, an old timer who's been doing this for 50 years. You got to soak up all that information, but also don't take it as gospel. You got to go out on your own and learn all the new stuff. Guys like John, you want to install cabinets? You got to find guys like John, JCA's Cabinets, and go on their Instagram and soak up all the information that you can about how to do things. You want to get into restoration, go on Freddie's page. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's all about, who said it? John, hungry. You got to be hungry. That's it. It's all in your hands.
Yeah, yeah. I literally think if somebody had an ad looking for somebody, you could walk onto a job site and talk your way into a job with just the right attitude.
Yeah.
And just confess, this is how much I know, but I want to know more. Yeah. And I'm here for this job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of the best people I've ever seen come onto jobs were people who came from other
trades, crafts.
Not even trades, just like people who were I'm trying to think what she did before. She had like a job, not like a
She was a professional?
Yeah, at something. I forget
she
what.
She had a white collar job?
She was just smart. And that's what it takes most of the time. It's just having a good head on your shoulders.
Yeah. I'm happy to hear about somebody that wants to go into the trades. There's this guy making T-shirts and stuff like that now. I can't think of the name of the company. It's sort of like the Modern Tradesman or something like that.
Sorry, say it again?
There's a guy selling T-shirts and clothing, and I think it's called the Modern Tradesman. And it popped up on my Instagram feed as like one of the ads. Mm-hmm. And so I went to his website and I read about it. And he had a great backstory about how his dad was a master plumber. And when he was a kid, he used to love going with his dad. Mm-hmm. And he thought his dad was like Superman because people were so thankful, you came and you unclogged the toilet or you fixed this leak and this and that. And he loved it. And then one day in, I guess it was junior high school, he talked about how he was installing a toilet, and then there was this shame attached to it. The kids making fun of him. And it took him a while to grow out of that until he finally found his way back to the trades and plumbing. And his whole thing is, I want to, you know, kind of create respect around the trades again, because you know, we don't really experience it in our end of things, because we do kind of like high-endy stuff most of the time. But people who are in the trades do kind of get looked down upon by some.
Yeah.
And it's totally unfair.
Absolutely.
So I'm happy to hear of the interest in it.
Yeah. And, yeah, I mean, you have more specific questions, feel free to reach out.
Oh, I just read the question of the week. That's a goodie.
Yeah. So this week's question of the week, which we'll do on the Patreon after show, comes from one of our patrons, actually, Danny Snyder. Danny's question: are there any occupations that you prefer not to work for regardless of the project, like doctors or lawyers? I personally avoid working for architects. I'll work with them, of course, but not for them on their own houses. So we'll be covering that at length, ad nauseum, in the after show.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the beer?
I enjoyed it thoroughly. You know, it's kind of like up my alley, so to speak.
Yep.
So I figured I was going to like it.
It was good, actually. I have a sip left.
It's one of those beers that doesn't, I mean, it tastes good cold. It doesn't have to be super ice cold to still go down.
Yeah, stouts like that, even, you know, room temperature.
I think that's the way the English even drink them.
Yeah, I mean, they drink most beer like that.
Room temp.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. Well, I mean, a little chocolatey. I wouldn't say crazy.
No.
And the vanilla, a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say about it, except I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
It was enjoyable. Like I could easily have had another one. It's 6.5% alcohol by volume, and it's a small bottle. So it doesn't really feel that way. It doesn't feel.
We're used to drinking big cans.
Yeah, yeah. So it's something that I might even pick up. You know, if I was in the store looking for a 6-pack.
We got 4 still upstairs.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. All right. So I give it a thumbs up, Grand Cacao.
Yeah, me too. I like Trogs. I haven't had their Nugget Nectar. That's a good beer. That comes out around February every year.
All right. Check it out.
Yeah. We want to thank our gold tier patrons: Jerry Greenan, David Murphy, Manny Sirianni, Dustin Fair, Adam Podhast, David Shoemaker, and Colin Lai.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in the after show. Don't forget about the meetup, August 7th, 2:30 p.m. Put the Facebook event link in the description. We only got a couple RSVPs. I don't think anybody's really using the Facebook event thing.
Yeah.
But no, at least
Brewery.
about a dozen folks or so who are going to be coming. So, yeah, hope to see you guys there. And we'll see you next week.
Take care.